Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our mentoring session for today. It's got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. I'm gonna let guest host here, Kodi, for the day. Uh, yeah, he knows it's time for his walk, so this dude jumped on my lap. But we'll get through this mentoring session real quick, and then I'll take this guy on his walk. Here. All right, so I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in. All right, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. There's only two things really covered today. Is going to be the PRB and the breakout V3. But if there's anything specific that you guys want me to cover, feel free to put them in the chat. And we'll cover whatever you guys need help with. So let's get a few more moments. See if anything else came up today. No, not really. No V1 patterns. The volatility is still really low. So I'm not really expecting too much to happen from now until, I guess, later. Price did come back to open. We were kind of joking about that on the live session. Said, it'd be nice if price came back down to open over here, which it did. Let's see, question from Hawk. Hawk's asking if there's another momentum pullback scalp. Yeah, so actually, yeah, you're right. So right here, price did come down or traced up right here. Let me see if there's any levels there. So it never filled right here. Price came back down a little lower. Yeah, the entry was actually right here. I mean, but yeah, like what Orion said, the ATR is too low. So the ATR has got to get at least at 15. The reason why we do that is because if not, price is probably just going to keep going sideways, right? Which is kind of what happened here. I mean, it came down slowly, but for the momentum pullback scalp, you typically want it to just fill your order super quick and come straight down to your TP, right? So yeah, thanks for saying that, Ryan, because I totally forgot about the ATR requirement. But the reason why we do that so that you don't get caught in a sideways trade for the entire session, which is kind of what happened with the breakout V3 today. So yeah, there is a momentum pullback scalp pattern, but not one that I would personally take because the ATR again is just a little too low. So if there's any question that you guys have, feel free to pop into the chat, guys. Otherwise, I think for today, the main things to look at, and the only two entries that really popped up would be the PRB entry and the breakout V3 entry over here. So we'll take a look at that, and then we'll go from there. So let's start off with the PRB entry for today. So the PRB entry, let's go back to 630 real quick, which is over here. The entry it took a really long time for it to hit. So at this point right here on market open, we would have been looking for a sell because the trend here was bearish. However, on market open, price climbed all the way up. So once the trend here started to shift with regard to the pivots, and you can see it's pretty clear right here, the level 4 pivot was below all the other pivots. The trend meter down below is green, price was above, and this was now in a bullish trend. So with that said, price did climb up here a little bit. And the first step that we were looking for was for price to pull back down for retracement and swing back up. That's pretty much what we were looking for, right? We didn't have that yet, but that's pretty much what we were looking for. So you can see over here, price came down. It didn't really swing back up yet. Price started to climb right here. And this is the first step. So this was the first step that we were looking for. Price pushed up, came back down. We had the rejection off structure right here. That's the first step for the PRB. The next step is that we're looking for space or consolidation. It's kind of subjective, but for the most part, you guys know what to look for, which would be right here. You guys can see this doji candle. This would be the space because you can see that price is now starting to go sideways. So this here would be considered space. And once you have space, you're going to now look for the same pattern right here to repeat itself. Looking for price to push down. Price never came down to reject off the pivots. Didn't come down there. Didn't come down there. So this is where it becomes a little tricky when the entry happens right at 7 o'clock, right? Because that's what happened here. Price finally rejected off the pivot right there. This is tricky because the cutoff is 7 o'clock. I haven't really determined whether the cutoff is like right at 7 or if it's after 7, right? Because we don't really have many entries that come up right here. So for whatever reason, I was like, okay, this is like the entry here because it happened right at 7. And that's where I took the PRB. Unfortunately, there was news at 7 o'clock as well, and it was high impact. The news was negative for the month, and it actually pushed price down. So unfortunately, I got caught in the news spike right there. A lot of people didn't take the trade because it was right at news. But I just took it, and that's the only way for us to test it, right? If nobody's taking the trade, there's not going to be any emotions that are involved in here, and you're not going to be able to really test it real time. It's different testing it back in time, like doing this here and going back. You could have said 100 things, right? You could have said, okay, I wouldn't have taken it because there was news. Like you could have said, I wouldn't have taken it because it was at 7. But in the real time of like when the trade's happening, you have to make a split decision whether, okay, I'm going to take the trade or not. And I decided to take it because I'm the guinea pig here and I'm testing it to see if it works well, under all market conditions, even news, it doesn't matter. You have to take the trade. So I took the trade there, and maybe in the future, I'm like, okay, maybe we should skip trades if they happen on the news candle, right? But we're never going to know that unless we take these losses here. So unfortunately, this was a loss here for the PRB. Now going over to the breakout. If there's any questions regarding this, guys, let me know. It's pretty straightforward. I know it wasn't a clean entry, but it was pretty straightforward with what we were looking for. Rejection, consolidation, rejection, continuation, which continuation didn't come because the news pushed it down. So that's pretty much the PRB right there. Now let's go over here to the breakout V3. This one was a little nicer. It just took a bit longer for it to hit. So this right here was the breakout V3 entry. Let's go over the criteria. So the first step that you're looking for is you're looking for a V1 pattern, which is a reversal pattern. You're looking for either a double body or double wick rejection off any of these high lows. So there's no high low here. I mean, there's a high low, but there's no double body. There's a high low here, and there was a double body, but there's no entry after it. This is the most recent one. So price came down, came back up. There was a high right here. You can see it's a double body rejection on the same level. That's going to be step 1. Step 2, you want to look for a momentum signal. Right here, we have a sell momentum. And for step 3, you want to confirm a continuation. You want to see a red candle to follow it immediately thereafter. So we had a V1 pattern here, identifying this as a reversal pattern. So price came down, came up, reversal, momentum, continuation. And that's where the entry happened right here for the breakout V3. You had the setup right there. We took the trade, kind of went back and forth for a bit because again, it was at like news right here, close to news. Went back and forth, eventually came back down and blasted right through our TP. And that right there was a breakout V3 entry. I think this one's pretty straightforward. We don't really get questions regarding the breakout V3 because there's really no guessing work here. It's so straightforward, and you just look for the V1 pattern, the momentum signal, and the following continuation. And that's pretty much it. So if there's any questions regarding this, guys, feel free to pop into the chat. Otherwise, we have one question here from Patricia. She's asking, Sean, can you explain what you were looking for on the open for the quick 10-point scalps? Yeah, sure. So I was kind of playing around with this. This is a strategy that I used to apply a long time ago. So when I was on the charts like all day, this is something that I would look at, and it's something that worked very, very well. So I think what I'll do here is I'll give you guys a little like sneak peek of like what it is. And then in the future, I think for the more advanced traders like you, Patricia, and the people who do very well, we'll have an advanced class. It's going to be an advanced class just for this scalping technique. So here's the thing that I started to realize. Once I kind of looked at it, I figured, okay, if this is the case, then I should cut off my, and I'll show you why right here. So market opened at 6:30. And all that I'm looking for is I'm looking for momentum and pivot rejections. That's literally all I'm looking for. So for example, right here, we had a buy signal, right? This is pre-market. This is the opening candle right here. So this right here is the momentum that I'm basically looking for momentum, and I'm looking for continuations in that direction, like basically retracement, rejection, continuation. So we had a bullish momentum here. I wouldn't have taken this because I don't look for rejections on both sides. There needs to be a rejection only on one side. So this candle here would have been skipped. This next one over here, you can see how price pushed up. We had the rejection only from the bottom. And again, that's all you're looking for. Momentum, rejection off the pivot, quick 10 points. Quick 10 points in and out. Let the trade run from here. Full TP right there, right? That'd be one right there. And then that's one entry. So there's one full TP right there. And you can see again right here, same situation, right? Rejection off the pivot. Well, and this is what I'm talking about with like cutting it off at 3, because you'll see that the once you have 3 wins, it starts to reverse. So buy signal, again, a rejection off the pivot. Another entry right there, 10-10. But technically you can take this all day. So again, right there, 2 back-to-back wins. And then again, right here, another rejection right there, same thing, right? Once that candle closes, another one right there. And that's where I would have cut it off. At this point, I would have had 1,500 in profit. Because I would have been taking a 10 contract, since there's a small TP stop loss. I would have made 500 per trade of 1,500 right here, 30,000 on all my accounts. So I would have taken this right here, and that would have been done. Now let's keep going forward. So the problem with this here is that I don't know if like the spread's going to be an issue. So I don't know if 10-10 might be too tight, but I mean, we'd have to test it real time. Yeah, it's just 10-10. Do you want to do a 1-to-1? If you do more than a 1-to-1, then you're not going to have a balanced trade. The only problem is that 10-10 is kind of close. So I don't know. I haven't tested it real time, so I don't know if it's really going to work. You might have to have a bigger stop loss. I used to do 10-30. So when I used to do my original scalp, I just do 10-30, and then it pretty much would hit, and it'd be fine because I would never lose. But when you do lose, it's pretty messy. So okay, right here is another opportunity. Let's see. Again, right there. So this right here wouldn't count. You'd have to have the rejection would have to happen after the momentum. So here's where it changes a little bit. Once you have a sell momentum, you're now looking for sells. So you're only looking for rejections to the downside. There was no rejections there. Now we have a buy signal over here, right? Now you're looking for the same thing again right there. You got the setup. Doing the same thing, going for 10-10. And it doesn't work. See, so this is why I cut off at 3. Once you have 3 net wins, I just cut it off. But technically, I mean, you don't have to cut it off. You can keep going. So for example, right here, say, for example, this here loses. And sorry, guys, I know you guys probably see Kodi over here on my lap. He's ready for his walk. So he's jumped on my lap. I know this is how he wants to go on his walk. So again, right here, let's see if there's another opportunity. Same thing, rejection right there. Another loss, right? So you guys see how the losses start to come in. The thing with this here is that is that it's going to balance out. Like if you count the net wins here, it's still at one net win. So you have 3 wins right here, 2 losses, and then price comes down lower from this point. Okay, so here's now for where this is actually rejecting off two, rejecting out both right there. Now at this point, there's a sell entry. So I mean, technically you can take it all day if you want. If you want to sit on the charts for like, and when I used to trade this, I would sit on the charts for like 12 hours. I'd literally be on from like 5:30 up until like 3 p.m. looking for these scalps. And again, right there, another loss. At this point, you'd be at break even, right? 3 wins, 3 losses. It's kind of a waste of time. If you just cut out right here at your 3 net wins, you would have been up in profit, would have been done for the day. But again, today was kind of a weird market. So you can't really, I mean, personally, I don't think you could really judge a strategy off like today's market because the volatility is super low. There goes another one right there. None right there. Okay, so now you get back like net win profit. Patricia's asking, doesn't matter what pivot or rejects off? No, not at all. Because it's just basic price action. You're just looking for price to reject off structure. You got momentum, so you know price is going up. So you're just looking for rejections. It's like pretty much pure price action, but it's also high frequency because it happens so quickly on the 1 minute. So for me, I call this a high frequency scalp because it happens so quickly. But I've done the testing, and if you do just net 3 wins every single day, it's pretty good. But you have to be focused. Like for example, here these candles happen so quickly that you have to like really be watching and not take your eyes off the chart because you have to be quick to like when the candle closes, you enter and then you exit, then you enter and then you exit. Like these right here happen back to back. So if you're like not paying attention for like 1 second, you could miss one of the trades. So no, trend doesn't matter. Again, like like I was saying, this is just momentum. It's based off momentum and pivot rejections. So it doesn't matter which direction you're trading in. I mean, you could trade in the direction of the trend, but from what I've noticed, it's not really necessary. Like for example, here the win happened, and then again, there's another one right here, right? Like if you want to sit at your chart for like 6 hours, be my guest, right? Because you can make a lot of profit doing this. It's just you're either going to end up at break even, or you're going to end up in heavy profit or pretty decent loss, right? So you can see right here. So 3 wins, 3 losses, 2 wins, you're back at 2 net wins. And you can see how it can be lucrative if you're on your chart all day and you're just taking every single entry. I was actually going to have a master class about this a long time ago, but I just never did because unfortunately with our group, there's only certain people that I know can follow directions. Like it's just unfortunate. I wish everybody in the group can follow directions, but not everybody can. It's not that easy to follow directions like I would like everybody to. So this is a strategy that I actually wanted to teach people a long time ago. And again, right there, another loss. You get 1 net profit win. But this strategy it's definitely not for beginners. So if you're a beginner, guys, don't even think about applying this because this is so fast paced that you have to like literally be watching. You can see how fast these entries come up. They come up like every other candle, basically. This one's a win. So at this point, you'd be at net profit 2. There's another entry right there, rejection off the top. And some of you guys are just degenerates, right? Like when I created this strategy, I was a little bit of a degenerate. I just wanted to be on the charts all day, making as much profit as possible. If you guys followed me at the very beginning of my scalping journey, I used to apply this every single day. And I would make a ton of profit trading my personal accounts. The thing is, this strategy works really good with Apex because your TP stop loss is so tight that you're never going to reach your trailing drawdown, right? Because each trade here is like 500, your trailing drawdown is 5,000. Like for example, I was thinking if they had those 1 day passes for Apex, I was like, man, I should just YOLO one of my accounts or just go on one account and just do this all day because you can literally pass your Apex if you do this all day because there's going to be so many entries that come up. You're going to hit a hot streak at some point. Like for example, here, I mean, obviously today's not a good day because there's not very much volatility. But you can see again right here, if price pushes up. Because at some point, you're going to get momentum where it just lasts like pretty much all day. So get another win right there. And you guys know what I'm talking about, right? If you guys look at the momentum signals, See, and it's just back and forth today. Today's not a good day to apply it. But if you look over here, so for example, if you just look at all the spaces in between each momentum, so for example, buy momentum right here, and how many times price rejects off the pivots. I mean, today's obviously not a good day, but if you go to like say Friday or something, like a day where the pivot where the momentum is kind of spread out. Like for example, see how this buy signal came up right here? How many rejections off the bottom? One, two right there. Another buy signal right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like 6 wins right there between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. Again, right here, another one, another win, another win. There's like 8 wins here. On Friday, there was high volatility, so it's easy to apply the strategy here. But today's just not one of those days where you would do it. But I'll fine tune it. I'll try to figure out what else needs to be added to it. I'm kind of glad that we cut off the YouTube live streams because now we can kind of just focus on, well, I can focus on sharing for the most part with you guys and not have to worry about just like, random people watching the live streams and stealing my ideas. Because let's be real, there's a lot of people out there who just steal my ideas. It's so annoying. Like there's a couple guys in the group who try to recreate my indicators and they wonder why they keep losing trades. It's because you can't recreate the indicator unless you know what my thought process is. I've seen people try to recreate the pivots and they've been on a crazy losing streak. I've seen people who try to create the PRB strategy. The PRB strategy is based off my indicators too. So, I'm going to keep building on it and I think this strategy is going to be good for a lot of people who just want to be on the charts all day. Because if you just be on the charts all day, you can learn a lot from and you can learn price action just by applying the strategy because you'll see exactly what you're looking for. You're basically looking for momentum, so you know the direction, and then you just look for retracement and corrections after that. So pretty straightforward, but yeah, I'm pretty excited for this year, guys, because especially with the breakouts, I'd rather have break-even days than having losing days. I think for the most part, we're going to have a lot of break-even days. We're going to have some winning days, but we're not going to have very many losing days, which is a big plus in my book, especially for the longevity of your Apex accounts. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I think we covered everything we needed to today. There's only 2 official entries that came up, the PRB and the breakout V3 entry. Plus, I kind of gave a little hint with this new scalp. Let's see. Randy said, is that Kodi or Kai? This is Kodi right here. Kai's on the floor. Kai doesn't he's kind of older, so he doesn't like to be up. But yeah, this dude he just sleeps on me all day. This is literally how my day is. Once we get off the live, Kodi's just sleeping on me. I don't know how he sleeps like this but he's super comfy. You guys can see him. He's like knocked out, like a little baby. Look, Kodi, just ready for his walk. Kodi is how old is he now? I think Cody's about to be 5. He's gonna be 5 this year. And Kai's getting old. He's about to be 8. So yeah, he's not that old. He's still a puppy. Well, not a puppy, but a big puppy. All right, guys. I think that's it for today. Cody's ready for his walk. You guys can see he's getting up now. He's ready to go for his walk. So, all right, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live.